So thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much, Dionne, for joining me in this series. I really, really appreciate
Yeah,
the
thank you
fact that you
for
decided
inviting me
to.
to.
Yeah, and thank you for speaking. And part of the reason I really wanted to talk to you, and part of the reason I invited you is because for those watching, this is a series where I'd like to talk to people who are going through an ascension or who are going through awakening. And what I really admire in you, Dionne, and what I really appreciate is that, we're both part of the 5D Philippines group. And
Yeah.
one thing that I really appreciate is that whenever there are any newbies who are asking questions, or there's anybody who is confused about something, you're usually one of the first people who replies, and you're usually one of the first people to give your input. And I can just really tell in terms of your energy, I can really tell in terms of the way that you talk to people, that you're really passionate about awakening and ascension and enlightenment, or however you want to call it. And, that's why I really want to talk to you, and and give you this opportunity to share with others your story, because yeah, like I said, I really do admire you. So I just wanted to
Thank you.
share that.
Yeah, I also admire you as well, especially when you're doing those regressions with the rest of the group. That was very enlightening.
Yeah, I haven't done it like in a while though, so hopefully I'm gonna get to restart that. I think like next week I'll have more time because I have like a few days off, and we can set that up. And hopefully one time we can do like a regression session with you as well, right? So
Yeah, yeah, of course.
yeah. But yeah, before we, talk about the ascension, awakening, and that kind of stuff,
Mhm.
just maybe for the folks who are watching this, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know a little bit about you because of, the chats that we've had, but I don't really know like your story, so to speak. So could you maybe share your background and, your story about your life before we talk about like your story with awakening, whatever it is that you'd like to share.
Well, me, I am a degree physical therapist in the Philippines, and
Hmm.
I'm practicing physical therapy in New York. And I was started to be awakened when I started to stay here, because
Mm.
United States is frequency based on frequency is different from the Philippines. The
Yes.
Philippines is kind of laid back, and here you just gotta work and you just have to be on top. Especially here in New York, it's a lot of
Yeah.
competitions. And in the Philippines, there's this kind of programming. Oh, you're in the medical field. You're a physical therapist. You should go to the United States. You be this and be like
Yes.
that. So I try to follow the trend, but in the long
Mm.
run, I feel like my soul is not
Yeah.
totally in tune with that kind of programming. And then I
Yeah.
start questioning things, and then something came up when I'm here. I got sick, and
Mm.
I got sick, and then I failed my relationship, and
Mm.
those catapulted me to ask questions. So why is this things happening to me, and why are there patterns that keeps on going on
Yeah.
despite of I'm very disciplined when it comes to my work, when it comes to my uh, principles in life, and what else that I should do so I could cut off
Right.
these patterns. And that pushes me to this path of awakening.
Right. So would you say it was kind of like a dark night of the soul? Do you kind of like resonate with that
Yeah,
term?
it's a total dark night of the soul.
Mm.
The moment that I realized those things, especially when I had this devastating breakup,
Mm.
I haven't not familiar with astral then.
Yeah.
But during those times that you cried so hard, and then there's nothing to cry on, and then I mean you parang piga ka na, yung wala ka
Yeah.
na may luha, di ba?
Yeah.
I just noticed myself that I feel aware here, but my soul is floating somewhere. Like I just want to go
Yeah.
down, but I couldn't, and I could see stars exploding. I could see everything destroyed up there.
Mm.
Like wow, and I just want to go down to the earth, but I couldn't go down. You know
Yeah.
that feeling? Yeah.
Mm.
So that's the time that pushes me to understand quantum. It's like wow. Right now there and there catching downloads about
Mm,
quantum. And I started to read. I started to have some lucid dreaming, and then some of my lucid dreams, I research it once I wake up, and
yeah,
that's my dream. Like wow, I'm having downloads even I'm asleep. So then
yeah,
the research goes on, and then that's why I'm here. I'm here now.
yeah. And I think that that's part of the thing that's maybe scary for a lot of newbies, right? Because, when people go through something similar to what you went through, and I think a lot of us who are, going through our awakening or ascension process, we go through similar experiences. But if it's your first time going through that, it can be kind of scary
Yeah.
for people, right?
So when I met some people who are in the process of awakening or have been awake
Yeah.
than my stage of awakening, and I'm telling them my story, and then they said, you've been through astral projection. They said, oh
Yeah.
really? That's already astral projection. And you know what? You have lucid dreaming too. So okay, wow,
Yeah.
it's been a lot. Been through a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
at the time that I understand, oh, okay, I'm already there.
Yeah, and what would you say to those newbies or those folks who are just starting this and they're experiencing those things and sometimes you can't avoid it. You feel like maybe a little bit apprehensive or scared that,
Yeah,
what's
apprehensive. Yeah.
happening to me? Am I going crazy? What do you have to share for folks like that?
For folks like that, especially just be yourself first. Be yourself and know yourself. When you know yourself, especially me, it's easy for me because I'm already in the medical field and I know the body
Yeah.
processes. I understand. We are a combination of the chemical and physical impulses in our body,
Yes.
and I understand that. So with that, I was able to understand that when we have dreams, it's also a chemical thing,
Yes.
and an electric things, some some part of our existence. So with that, for those people who are experiencing such kind of awakening, just so you can start questioning like, who am I? Where am
Yeah.
I going? Yeah, those are the nice questions. Who am I? Where am I going? And where do I come from? Apart
Mm.
from what we are learning from the usual programmings like your religion, although both of us, we have some experiences about religion, but
Yeah.
as of now, when with my I purged a few weeks ago, and then I learned that your religion, you cannot just put them totally in zero, like annihilate the
Mm.
religion.
Yeah.
It will diminish across our timeline, but
Mm.
the only thing that we could do with religion is reintegrate it so people would know more about themselves rather than the
Mm.
religious institution.
Right.
Yeah, I
And
think that's
and
the change we need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think especially for someone like you, right, who, comes from a medical background, right? Like it's, uh, you know, uh, it's something that you don't typically hear from people who have a background like yours, right? And whenever you share something in the group, what I also like and what I really appreciate is that you have kind of like that scientific mindset or that scientific perspective as well, and that's not really easy for a lot of people to kind of
To digest.
synthesize, right? So,
Yeah.
how did you go through that process of synthesizing the things that you had learned from your scientific medical background with all of these new spiritual and esoteric concepts that you were learning about? How was that process for you?
You know what pushes me to go through that process is because being aware in the medical industry that we have right now, that is in the third density, everything is
Yeah.
more of control. Everything is more of, oh, you have to go work, you have to do this, we have to earn. And
Yeah.
I would see with large institutions, they were earning even if they're not telling the patient um, what really is happening. It's just say, oh, you
Yeah.
have this disease, oh, you have to do this. But actually, me as a person who both see the synchronization of faith and science. Okay, this is your disease, but actually, you have still options other than the Western medical approach. we have this because your body can react to this, your body can react to that. So me as a professional, a clinician, I want people to have options from
Yeah.
themselves apart from what the the dictation of the society or the medical society. And I want to be honest from that, you have this, but these are your options.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that that's definitely something that's very timely, especially with what we're going through in the world right now, especially with the coronavirus and
Yes.
COVID-19. And I just wanted to kind of briefly touch on that and get your take and your observations, because you are a frontliner, right? Like you
Yes.
see this happening and going on all around you. So
Well,
what?
actually, me
Yeah.
personally, my mom got the corona, and I'm exposed to her for quite some time. But
Ah, I see.
yeah, but to be honest, I never, even I'm exposed to her, like I'm always like 1 meter to 2 meters away from her during the time that she was
Mm,
not yet aware that she was sick. I
mm,
never contracted the disease. Not
mm.
one, not ever. I remain asymptomatic up to now. All of I've been, my as a frontliner, we were being checked of our antibodies
Yeah.
if we are reactive or not. And up to now, I remain unreactive, non-reactive.
Good. And what do you
Which is
think contributed to that? Because, like, I mean, as someone who is on the ascension path or the awakening path, I mean, you and I both know, why
mhm,
that's the case. Could you maybe like explain to folks why is it that even though you were in close quarters with your mom, she was
yeah.
affected, and then you
Mhm.
weren't?
Yeah, my understanding with that, because diseases nowadays is happens to anybody
Mm,
when first you don't know your body
yeah.
and you don't know your surroundings.
Yeah.
So it goes both ways.
Yeah.
So as a person who is aware, when you're aware, your body can sense that. If you
Yes.
keep on thinking that, oh, this is a disease, and I can be on top of my body that I can't have this disease. I
Mm,
can't CANT. I
yes.
can't have this disease. I can't be contracted. Your body follows.
Mm,
Your every cells of your body, 50 trillion cells of our body, listen to our thinking, listen to our mind. So
yes.
but uh, I remember the saying of Albert Einstein that the field is the sole governance of the particle. It's the
Yes.
sole, yeah. So when we use that sentence so to fit to the medical arena, so the mind is the sole governance of the body. So you
Mm.
have to be strong to the mind, and the body will follow. And when the body is strong, the mind also is strong. So that's what we need. So we have this kind of um, call this immunity, not just the physical immunity, but also our spiritual immunity as well. It goes hand in
Right.
hand.
Absolutely. And, I think that that's very important for people to take note of, because it makes them feel a lot more empowered that, hey, like, I'm not a victim here, it's,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You don't play the victim part. You actually think, how am I gonna win this, and how can I surpass this? Because we have this resiliency, we have this adaptability as a human species that we need to be tapped with. That I think some of our generations nowadays, even the generations before, are still enjoying the fear factor, the fear
yeah,
fear programming, which is, I'm very sad about that.
yes. And like, I think that also, again, going maybe a little bit back into, you coming from the medical profession, right? And going back to what I was saying, that I really appreciate when you share like those scientific studies, and when you share, what you've been learning about how those in the alternative, what we call at the moment, the alternative, healing modalities. I really like, when you share those things and what the scientific basis for those would be. Could you maybe share with folks like, things that you've recently been researching on or learning about, or things that, you find maybe the most interesting as far as, how, the scientific world or the medical world is starting to be a lot more aligned, with these concepts that people are talking about in the spiritual or the ascension field.
Nowadays, there are institutions that try to connect the faith and science. Especially,
Yeah.
you have this Heart Math Institute. Have you heard of that?
Hmm.
The Heart Math.
Hmm.
They have some studies there that how the heart is connected to the brain, and we have this
Yes.
the the Global Coherence Initiatives, the GCI. For
Yes.
them, these are the institutions that measures the magnetic resonance of the Earth, and
Yes.
also connecting to the resonance of the human heart, because also the human heart, based on this institution, has the influence also to modulate or to affect our the Schumann's resonance of the Earth.
Yes.
Yeah. So there you go. And what else?
And how have you been like able to apply that in your, in your job at the moment, right? Because you are still like in the medical profession. Is that something that, you've been able to explore as a medical professional, or is it something that, that you are mainly researching on?
Well, some of them I'm already applying, and some of them I'm just asking I mean researching on.
Yeah,
But
got
as of
it.
now, what I'm sharing, I'm trying to incorporate with everything that I do, especially at work, and also to myself. So every time that it's somebody would here in New York, it's very the energies are very erratic. Like most of the locals here, especially the colored ones, they were easily agitated.
Yeah.
And when you bump at them, you step on their foot or their shoes unexpectedly, you will always receive the F word. Yeah,
Mm,
randomly, or so
yeah.
usually those are the things that if I encounter, or just okay, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I just don't you don't like they said, you can't kill fire with fire. If
Yeah.
there is a
Exactly.
fire, you have to be the water, or you have to be the air.
Yeah, and there
Mhm.
really has been like a change of energies, especially where you are, right? You're kind of
Mhm.
like in the center of all of it. So,
Yes.
what's your take on that? What's your observation on what the world is going through right now? Because for me, it really seems like, if there are individuals that are going through like a dark night of the soul, then it almost seems like the
This is the
world
time.
as a whole is going through a dark night of the soul, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's like a global dark night of the soul for everyone. But thankfully, we're almost done with that. So it's just everything is kind of familiar to us with this kind of a thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I feel sorry for them, and I just when I see somebody like they're very very anxious and very exhausted about what is happening, I just in my mind like, oh, love and light to these people.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Because, and something that it's part of the reason I guess I set up this channel is because, I know for people who are on the awakened or the ascension path, it can be a little bit frustrating having to deal with, with humans, so to speak. So,
Yeah, and it's really hard because for the past, let's say, for the past 2,000 years since the time of Jesus, we are very divided.
yeah, yeah,
To be honest, if you see the pre-Christian text, you see the medieval times, and even the Renaissance, we've been divided because that was the age of Pisces, and now 2,000 years
Mm.
2012 was we're already merging to the age of Aquarius, which everything is become coherent, everything is becoming inclusive, and then
Yes.
some part of the population that is not accustomed to that kind of cohesiveness.
Yes.
So there are still like we say remnants of our a community that is still into racist, they're being too in touch with their religions, their political beliefs, and when you will just uh put those elements in a microscope, what its agenda is more of dividing people,
Yes.
right? They're putting people into their minds like, oh, I have to be this, I have to be like that. It's more of the egoic per se, which
Right.
is
Absolutely. And I think it's something that we have to like realize that we really have to get through this all together. Like we can't be though there are some things that we of course need to address, right? There are things that we need to
of
um,
course.
it's kind of like you can't be on the lighted path without understanding the dark, right? Because you have to
Mm,
shine a light on the dark in order for it to also be addressed, and it's part of us as well too. So you have to understand it, maybe work with it, and then include that as part of your ascension, so to speak. What parts of you
yes.
are things that you want to change so that you
Yes.
can move beyond it, right?
What part of you that you have to change, and what part of you that you want to overcome, or you want to let go of.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's important because it's not just about learning, but what you need to unlearn. So in order for you to learn more, and
yeah,
I remember some concept regarding it's just a simple concept for the newbies to be able to be in touch with ascension. Imagine yourself crossing in a bridge. The bridge that connecting cliff to cliff or a mountain to a mountain, like small mountain to a
right.
mountain, and that it's like a kind of wobbly because it's being connected by along we call this, I can't say it's thread. It's not
Like a
thread.
footbridge or something
Lubid.
like that. Yeah.
Yun. That's it. But it's it's kind of flimsy because it's
Yeah,
only by some thing, a wooden bridge that is being hanged by a flimsy bars that you have to
yeah,
hold on, or so imagine it's kind of flimsy, it's kind of wobbly, and you're walking. In order to you to avoid to be wobbly, you have to be in the center, right?
yeah,
You have to be in the center. Imagine in those sides, this is the light and this is the darkness, and you're
yeah.
passing through in the middle. You can't be too much light, or else you will
Mm,
like tip on the right, and
mm,
it's not too much dark. You're gonna tip on the left. You have to be in the center. You observe both sides, but you have to be facing the on the path towards your
yes,
path, towards your journey. So what I want these newbies to understand that darkness and light, they are not paths. They are tools for you to reach ascension. You are not going to side on the darkness just
right.
to balance the light, or side too much on the light just to balance darkness, but rather be your own light. You imagine yourself crossing on that bridge. You're holding a we call this a torch with your own light,
Right.
and you're seeing the dark and you're seeing the light. If you don't do that, if you can't be your own light, you can't observe both sides. You be too much
Right.
blinded by too much light, or you're gonna trip up with too much darkness. So I hope those newbies could picture that in their mind.
Right, absolutely. And, as you were saying that, I'm just curious as well, because, some people are, they only started thinking about spirituality or these kinds of things, when they, when something happened to them. But on the other hand, there are some folks like the person I interviewed, uh, you know, uh, I think a few days ago, where she had been encountering like supernatural and spiritual things like ever since she was a child. So I'm just curious, like in your case, did you
Mm-hmm.
have like any experiences like that when you were little or when you were growing up? Or did these things only start to manifest after you started your ascension and your awakening?
Before I was realizing I am into a path of awakening, when I was in college.
Mm-hmm.
So college, we've been seeing cadavers.
Yeah, yeah,
We caught cadavers,
yeah, yeah.
and then we go to some places, some like spooky places. Like
Mm,
because my school is near the Paco Park. Paco
mm,
Park is an old Spanish cemetery that
yeah.
has become a chapel. There's a chapel inside it. We sometimes would
Mm,
me and my friends would go there. We just bring our food and have some lunch there, and we see things. We see
yeah.
entities there.
Mm, mm,
Then that was the start. Then when I as before I graduated, I would be assigned in provinces. I had this experience that we because the location that I've been with is um it's like been there a pre-war era.
right.
There are some houses that pre-war era
Yeah.
in pre-war era. We're taking pictures and then we saw images of people dressed in pre-Spanish era. Like wow,
Yeah.
yeah. And even in our sleep, like just when I look at my just one night I was I've seen the moon is so full and then I look at the edge of my foot, oh, there's someone in there.
Yeah.
Like it is already in the suit but has no face, like wow. Then I
Yeah.
just close my eyes again. No, no.
Okay.
Yeah, other experiences. But you know what? The point is when I'm looking back on those memories, when you are in low vibration, it's easy for you to see entity.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
So every time that you those people who can see those entities, they have to raise their vibration. So once that I raise my vibration, all those things stop.
Yeah, to be honest, like I've never I hear people tell stories about, they see people who are dead and they're bloody or they're beheaded and then they don't see the
Yeah.
faces. And the thing is that I only started developing my clairvoyance after I had like done some inner work. So I've personally never seen those, so I only
Nothing
see,
bloody for me, but just like shadowy. Yeah,
yeah.
it's really shadowy, and I could see just like few details of the dress and things, but no faces at all. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like I mainly see beings of light. That's all I've really seen. I think there's a way for you to see them. Even if you are like of a higher vibration. But personally, I just don't because like it's you can't avoid being affected by their energy once you're aware that there's a low vibrational being or entity around. So personally, it's just not my preference to see those things.
Yeah, it's a good thing that you can control it
Yeah,
early on. Yeah.
yeah, perfect.
And also, I forgot
And
to tell you.
yeah,
Sorry.
no, go ahead, go
I
ahead.
had I Yeah, I had an experience of lucid as lucid dreaming as early as 2 or 3 years old.
Oh,
Because I
nice.
yeah, I didn't know it was lucid. I just remembering stuff as early as 2 or 3. And then
Yeah,
that was just one afternoon. When you were like 2 or 3 years old, you still have your nanny or yaya.
yeah, yeah,
Like I was sleeping and I saw my my caregiver doing the call this ironing our clothes
yeah,
in my dreams. And when I woke up, like I asked her, did you iron our clothes today? Like she said, yeah, I just ironed this afternoon while you're sleeping. And I just
yeah,
she said that she just niligpit lang niya yung ano yung yung kabayo.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'll be, oh my God, I think I saw her, but I just brush it off. But there are times like that.
Yeah, and
Ever
I
since.
think kids are very naturally, empathic. They're very naturally gifted when it comes to things like that. And it's only after, they keep being told that, oh, you're just imagining things, you just saw something.
No, no,
That's when they start to lose it, right? So,
vivid.
so
Because I
what
could
would
still
you?
remember it.
Yeah, absolutely. And kids are very, very gifted when it comes to those things. So, what would you tell maybe parents, that are trying to uh, maybe deal with or adjust to the fact that they have like a very gifted child when it comes to things like that, and maybe the parent is not like that themselves, so they don't know how to deal with it. Like, how would you tell that parent, how to guide their child?
With children like those is very retentive when it comes to their dreams. Just listen to their kids, because usually normal people would dream, but they don't remember it. But once they
Yeah,
remember it, it is something special. So you have to listen to your kid. If it's going on and on, just make a research about lucid dreaming with these kids, because
right.
it's actually a blessing to have those. It's something opening up to your or cortical
Mm,
uh systems.
right.
You have to pay attention to it, and you don't invalidate those experience, especially for a child. Yeah.
Right, absolutely. And we're seeing this like all over, all over the world as well too. Like, although you and I, of course, we're part of the 5D Philippines, so we can see it like,
Yeah.
with folks, and the people in our group are from all over the Philippines. They're not just like in,
Yes.
in one location, right? So, so what's your take on that? Like, when you were asked to be part of the 5D Philippines group, I mean, for me, I was surprised that that there were like people all over the Philippines. That, oh well, I
Yeah.
thought all this time it was just me who was like going cuckoo or whatever, right? Was it something that you were surprised about as well too? That there were, apparently there are a lot of people in the Philippines who are going through this too, or what was your take on seeing that happen?
Well, it's really fun and overwhelming to see other kababayans is awakening up in different parts of the Philippines.
Yeah,
Yeah. And it's really an honor to be a part of their journey as well, especially when answering questions about enlightenment and awakening stuff. Yeah, and I hope I was be able to guide some of them
yeah.
towards their true self, not the self that being built on us by the society.
Yeah, and I think you hang out in the group chat more than I do, because sometimes I need like a break, and I'm doing other stuff as well too. But what are some of the like the common questions that you get from newbies? What are the common things that you find yourself having to answer, or you're trying to guide people on? What are the common things that you've observed from people who are just starting out?
From just starting out, it's very common that like questions more of the faith, more of various belief systems,
Hmm.
which is most of them are, although they have been part of the past, but I think some of them we have to let go because they already serve the purpose on that kind of timeline, and we are into an emerging
Yeah.
timeline wherein everything is very we are towards oneness. So I'm
Yes.
focusing on those topics that will make us feel one, regardless of our belief systems, regardless of our cognitive awareness and stuff. Because that's what's very important. The people, regardless of where they come from, they
Right.
will feel that they're still part of the group as well, regardless if they have regardless of status or regardless of their educational background. That we are all one when it comes to awareness. We are all on the same path. Yeah, it's light. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've been noticing also that like sometimes a lot of the questions, are really, people are coming from newbies who are still on the process of self-discovery, right? Like, there are a lot of people who want to get like a reading. There are a lot of
Mhm.
people who, want to understand themselves a little bit more, which is encouraging, right? Because before you can help the world, you have to like
To
help
understand
yourself.
yourself more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
part of that also that I've noticed is that even their relationships, like I'm getting like a lot of people asking about soulmates, twin flames, that kind of stuff. Uh, is this person my twin flame? Is this person the person I'm supposed to be with? And there are aspects of that that are spiritual, of course, right?
Oh
Because
yeah, of course.
if you use the term twin flame,
Yeah.
then you kind of have like the idea that hey, you're meant to be with this person.
Not
You know,
actually.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
the thing with
what's your
meant to
take
be.
on that as well?
Well, when it comes to twin flame is like a divine union. It's not something like, oh, you can put on some romantic stuff in there. No, no. Because anything that is romantic, anything that it's, about marriage and stuff and about romantic relationship is more about bondage. Like, oh, you're
Yeah.
mine. And you have to listen to this. You have to follow my rules, and you have to be, in order to be my girlfriend or in order to be my boyfriend, you have to follow a certain rules
Mm,
so we can work. It's more of bondage. You can't be free. You can't, in the end, you feel like you're lost. You will not be able to explore yourself because you keep on pleasing this person just to stay in the relationship, which is not good.
yeah.
And the twin flame is that you felt some synchronicity. It's
Yeah.
like a union of the soul, because you are just one soul, but you were being divided so
Yeah.
that the infinite source or the divine creator experience both of your perspectives in
Right.
different timeline. Because usually I've noticed with the friends that they find their twin flames,
Mm,
the gap is like 8 to 20 years,
yeah.
and they have this kind of resonance. They have this kind of synchronicities in their lives, especially with the life paths. You notice
Yeah.
the life path when it comes to numerology, they're all the same. Most
Yeah.
of them are the same, and it's like, wow, it's incredible.
Yeah.
But it's not actually, well, it's, let's put it this way. It's lucky to those who buried their twin flames, or they end
Yes.
up with their twin flames, but not all of them could could end up with that. Especially if the twin has a different journey, you have to respect that. What if she has a different journey, or he has a different journey? You have to respect that. Not because it's you found your twin flame, she or he's yours to begin with. No, you are just like two souls being split. You have the same journey, you have the same experiences, or perhaps you have opposite uh of this, how you solve your day-to-day existence or problems. You have different, opposite of this diskarte. Di ba?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that um, you know, um, what some people have to realize is that sometimes your twin flame didn't incarnate into the same existence as you because they're serving as one of your guides. Yeah,
Guide or mirror.
yeah,
They
exactly.
mirror they mirror things that you need to heal, you need to realize for yourself, your potentials.
Yeah.
That's the purpose of twin flame.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and some people also they get a little bit confused between the difference between a twin flame, a
A soulmate.
soulmate, or just someone who is your work. The reason why you remember them is because you need to work out some karma between the two of you, and people kind of put them all together under the umbrella of twin flame, right? So that's why people I
You
think
know,
are so confused.
mhm,
And people, I mean, especially in the
yeah,
Philippines, we love drama, we love
yeah.
romance, so
But romance, it's very misleading when it comes to how relationships going on in the Philippines. A lot of divorce, a lot of, no, annulment. Sorry, wala tayong divorce.
Yeah, yeah,
annulment, yeah, break
yeah.
up. Alam mo yun, yung masaya lang sa una, tapos pagdating ng ano, nasa kalagitnaan ka na, parang ayoko na sa'yo, ganito ka,
Yeah.
ganyan ka. Ano pala, hindi mo ginawa, di ba?
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
totoo. So, parang, ako nakikita ko kasi I've been to a karmic relationship of 8 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I almost thought it was the great love, but no, it's just karmic. It showed me things that I need to learn. So
Yeah,
if ever
exactly.
that I'll be in the next relationship, this is how I'm gonna take care of the person.
Yeah.
Kumbaga. I want, this the karmic is more of 3D. But the 5D relationship is like, what I keep on saying on the a while ago in the chat. When you love somebody, you have to accept them as they are. And the time comes that they don't want to be with you anymore, or want to be in your journey, or they don't want you to be in their journey anymore.
Right.
You have to just send them love. You have to understand
Exactly.
that, and you don't just clutch them to your ideations of, oh, this is have to be like this and that. No, you don't have to clutch them. You have to allow them to their own expressions. You have to allow them to their own existence, with or without you. That's the
Yeah.
5D thing of unconditional love.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you for sharing that. And yeah, it just popped in my head. And something that I wanted to, or I want to ask you about also is I know that you have a book coming out, and it's I remember you posting a screenshot like in the group chat as well about the book that you have that's going
Yeah.
to be coming out. And
Mhm.
I am so happy for you. Like,
Thank you.
congratulations on getting that published. Can you talk about that a little bit as well too, and what you're going to be covering in the book, and yeah, maybe give us some details on when the book's coming out.
Probably will come out early next year. So
Okay,
I'll be working on some editing as of now. And the book is all about love in the 5D
perfect.
perspective. Yeah, and how, so it's I hope that book would kind of a game changer for people who is, you've been tired of patterns of a hurtful relationship, or for a hurtful relationship, not only for other people but for themselves, when they feel, everything is kind of
Mhm.
repetitively destructive. And I hope that book will give them a pointers or something to learn how to get out of that patterns.
Right.
And yeah, so I put a little bit of science in there, and and some
Yeah.
scriptures from different philosophers. So I
Mhm.
tried to connect those. So yeah, I, for sure I'll give you a copy when it's done.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Thank you. And yeah, so I wanted to, or I'd like to ask you, like, what's next on your spiritual journey, or what's next on, your path of awakening and ascension? What are the things that you're learning about now? What are the things that are kind of interesting you more? What have you been studying about?
A lot of things to be studied, because but as of now, whatever I am learning, I'm trying to ground it in my heart, because I've been too
Yeah,
much in here for the
yeah,
past. The first time I came in the 5D group, I think I confused most of the people there. I've been too high quality when it comes to my explanation.
yeah,
Now I'm trying to tone down and explain it from coming from here. The reason why I was like that before, because I think during the time I was still a little bit hurt, and I'm trying to cover my heart with anything that it's, yeah. So I
mm,
try to be more intellectual and less of this.
yeah,
I've noticed that, oh my, what I have
yeah,
become. So I changed my patterns then, and I've noticed during the time that I was away, I leave the group, because I did a lot of purging during that time, because before I left, the group become heavy. So I did a lot
mm,
of purging. I did a lot of healing too, and then I've learned a lot. That's
yeah,
why when I came to a group, you see me a little bit fresh, a little bit call
yeah.
this, yeah, far
And,
from what you first saw me. I mean, first heard me.
yeah. And I think that that's something that people have to be aware of as well too, right? It's not all, once you're awakened or once you're in the path of enlightenment, it's always an upward trend, and it's always going up, 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 right? Sometimes
It's not
it's like a
actually up.
it's like a circle, right?
It's like a circle actually. If you don't heal something yet, or
Yeah,
you realize you are trying to cover up things that you haven't healed yet, it always come back to you.
yeah,
Because our time is not a linear time, it's actually
yeah,
vortical.
yeah,
That's why our planets are revolving. There's
yes,
also our timeline as well. Even in our clocks, it's in clockwise. It's
yes,
in the pattern of the zodiacals. It's also in patterns in the planetary system, and also in the star system in our Milky Way. Everything is going clockwise,
right,
as well as our timeline as well. Like fractal time.
yeah,
Like I have like there's a kind of a mathematical computation that, for example, when I was a first time that I have my depression was I was in 13, because that was the first time I saw a ghost, that the
mm,
black hood. And I don't understand why I keep on seeing this ghost.
yeah,
And I couldn't tell my parents then that you know what, I'm seeing things. And I dealt that alone. And then I realized that those are things, issues that I need to work on. Then then I computed from 13 years old, the next thing that it will happen, that the kind of depression will be, according to Fractal, is when I was 24. So
yeah,
I had that my first breakup then. So
mm,
why?
mm,
And 24, then I got this, and then 33. This is the 33 years old. Then I told
yeah,
you that that's my 8th year. So what happens with the 24 and 33? 24, I broke up, and at the same time, when I was in 24, I enter again in a relationship without healing myself
yeah,
of the past. So it's just overlap. The pain, the injury
yeah,
overlap. So back again. So those are the things that, oh, it's been like a fractal. Every 8 years, those um 8 years apart, those wounds that I haven't addressed.
yeah,
It's like coming around. So right there and there, I I sit down on it. Shadow work.
yeah.
Oh, I've noticed that everything is coming in circles. So there you go.
Yeah, and I think that that's definitely good advice, especially in the Philippines, right? Because like a lot of Filipinos just sweep things under the rug, like, oh, let's just forget about it, let's not address, you know,
It's not
these
actually
things.
sweeping under the rug. It's just some of them is like, oh, I'm being punished by God because I'm this.
Yeah,
The guilt based,
exactly.
yeah, which is not good, because whatever that is happening to you, part of it you created it. Now you ask yourself, how am I going to uncreate this? How am I going to manifest a different pattern or a different timeline, so I could reach my
Right,
higher purpose? When you ask the universe will respond to you. Just be on the level of that consciousness, and universe will respond.
right, absolutely. So yeah, so thank you for sharing that. I think that maybe as um, you know, um, uh, as someone who is going through ascension for the first time, or is going through their awakening, you definitely gave like a lot of tips and suggestions for them. And we talked about like the newbies that we work with in the 5D Philippines group. Anything else that we maybe haven't covered yet that you think is important for a newbie to take note of, or something that you feel a newbie really should pay attention to as they're going through their process of ascension, of awakening?
The I have learned for the past 3 years that I am searching for this awakening stuff and this enlightenment stuff. Three elements in our earthly existence and
Yeah.
experience that influences, our our thriving mechanism as a
Mm,
human being. is how we respond to changes. And those
Yeah.
changes are, changes in our climate change,
Mm.
changes in our economy, and um, yeah, economy, which is part of your, the human conflict,
Yeah.
and the environmental conflict. Climate change, environmental, human conflict, and economic. Yeah, those are three: economic, human conflict, and environment. Sorry. So yeah, because usually when there is climate change, it affects also our crops.
Mm.
When there is a human conflict, especially our politics
Mm.
and other interests, politics, religion. Yeah, those are human conflicts as well.
Right.
Changes in time. Sorry. Yeah, changes in time, especially this time, COVID-19. We
Yeah,
also face.
exactly.
So we are in the era of, we are being to shackles. We need to have gloves going anywhere,
Yeah.
everywhere, and we have our mouth being, covered. It's not comfortable. I don't
Yeah.
know. People realizing that I hope they're realizing they are breathing carbon dioxide,
Yeah.
not oxygen anymore, and it is more lethal actually.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
yeah, they have to be strong on those um factors: changes in time, environment, and human interest. They are
Right.
changing in any twitch on those consistency on each element. People get easily rattled. You just have to observe.
Yes.
And those people who are in the process of awakening or still starting on awakening, they have to be strong down to the core. Because this one,
Right.
whatever problems that we have, whatever elements that are changing around us, when you are down here into your heart space, there's nothing that you can surpass or understand. Because
Right.
actually, our understanding comes from the heart. That's why it's the seat of the soul. The soul has a wisdom, and our intellect is more of it catches up, it's like an antenna. Our brain is like an antenna. It just catches information here from the media, information for other people, from the academia. But if you will just assort all those informations, do you really need that for ascension? Not all of that, especially what's coming from the media, or so let's say, sorry.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, especially what's the local media in the Philippines is all about, it's all about programming. And people, I don't
Yeah.
know, these media people, they are being paid to instill panic to people, to fear.
Yeah.
But in fact, they don't need that, because originally our divine blueprint is more of peace, bliss, and love. Anything that
Exactly.
deviates us from peace and bliss and love, it's not coming from the divine, but it's already being programmed here on earth.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. So thank you for sharing that. I know that you've been preparing for this, and you had like your
Yeah.
list of things that you wanted to cover. Do you feel you've been able to cover everything, or is there anything else that you'd like to maybe
Yeah.
share?
Yeah, I think we've covered everything. Do you still have anything to ask that I could answer with you?
Yeah. I just have like one last question. It's kind of like the
Yes.
way that I like to close my interviews. I've been trying it out, all right? But as we know, Mother Gaia herself is going through an ascension, right? And as all of her
Mm-hmm.
children,
Mm-hmm.
we're contributing to her ascension by helping ourselves ascend and be awakened, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we know that Mother Gaia
Mm-hmm.
is an actual being, right?
Yes.
Um,
Yes. Of course. I
yeah.
believe in
So,
that.
so if you have like, do you have like a message for Mother Gaia? As she goes through her ascension as a child of Gaia,
The
what
child of
message
Gaia.
would you have for her? Yeah.
Yeah. If Gaia is listening right now, I want to I want to tell her, Mother Gaia, that as a child of the Mother Earth, that I understand her pain and I am here. Whatever happens, I'm just here. I want my heart to resonate to her heart. So at least in my little way of being adaptive and being that resilient, being that loving. And I hope that will ease all the sufferings that she has. Yeah,
Thank you. I really appreciate
yeah,
that. And thank you so much, Dionne, for spending your precious time, talking with me. I really think that, all the things that you shared are going to help people who are new on Ascension and new to this path. I really, really appreciate all of what you shared. So thank you so much.
yeah. Thank you too. Thank you for inviting me.
All
Yeah,
right. Namaste.
yeah. Namaste. Yeah, all right.
Bye.